Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giants football? If so, sit back and relax. Except you, that person driving. Sit up and keep your eyes on the road. Your ears, though, can still listen as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, the New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, joined as always by...
I'm Rob. Let's talk about those interior linemen.
Oh, yes, the linebackers, the most heralded group in Giants history. And do we finally have one we can actually care about and expect good things of now? I mean, it's been how many years since we've had good linebackers? It seems like it's been forever. I mean,
I feel like this is a little bit like a chop soup of Monday night, but it's been since about the Super Bowl time since we had a pretty good.
It really has. I mean, think about it. Antonio Pierce, he had, obviously, who was, a great linebacker who, quite frankly, would probably think too highly of him because of just how much credit has gone past him. We had John Beeson for like half a season, had a really good before he got hurt, as John Beeson tended to do. And then we went right into, let's go ahead right into, at that point, talking about Blake Martinez, who had the one good year, and then the turf monster gets him, and, he's now selling Pokemon cards for a living. It's like
a great job.
Yeah, seriously, they're doing a killer job. Okay, it's really been enlightening to what you can make off of Pokemon at that point. But it's crazy to think about how long it's been since we've had a good linebacking core. Obviously, one of our big signings this year was a linebacker. So is this the year that we finally have good linebacking core? So before we get into that, we do have a couple of comments here. Connor, who, of course, started up before the episode even started, he was right into this.
He was ready to go.
So
it is homework.
Apparently, the Vikings had released the player. He's curious what we thought about Kenny Wilkes, and I had to go look this guy up, to be very frank with you. And from everything I saw, I guess he showed some potential as a rookie. Got hurt, and then got hurt.
He acts like a gentleman pickup.
Yeah, it's like he was a Giant.
Yeah,
he's already one of us.
Pick up a guy that has a lot of potential, who wore purple instead of blue.
Well, here's the thing, though. It's not even does he have potential, because he was a mid-round pick for them. It wasn't anything crazy. I think it was like a fourth-round pick. I didn't look that part specifically, but I think there was reference to him being a mid-round kind of guy. And then he showed a little bit of flashes, and then got hurt. And no one's seen him basically play since.
Pretty much since his freshman year.
Yeah.
Where, if you can show that as a freshman, you're showing potential. That's what I'm trying to say. It's like there's plenty of, people in this position that come out there. They're not going to have a stellar year, and then second year they come out looking like studs.
Yeah,
showing that potential.
Again, if they want to bring him in as a camp body, then whatever, sure. But I'll put it this way: they cut him to sign an XFL wide receiver. That just tells you every single thing you need to know about their thoughts on this player. They cut him to sign a player from the XFL. Yeah, I'm good. Like I said, if you want to put him as a camp body, whatever, then. But I'll say that about anybody.
Pretty much.
Except for you, Rob. You can't be in the camp.
Why not?
Sorry, can't do it. Can't do it.
Do you know what I did at band camp?
Oh, God. Was it a bear?
It was a bear.
You did a bear? Ew. Bestiality. Anyway, Anthony Blue Seals says, let's talk about it. We can't get Barkley to sign, but everybody talking about Davante Adams coming here. What's your opinion of that situation? I just don't see it. Listen, Anthony, people are just bored. They're bored.
It's Davante Adams and Stephon Diggs. It's all over Twitter and social media. They're coming to the Giants. They're going to move it around. No, Barkley's first.
Yeah, no.
They're going to figure that out first. And like I said before, I'm pretty sure Drew is going to back me up. Besides salary cap, we already got our number one receiver, if you will, for this year.
Yep.
He's not a wide receiver, but he'll be our number one.
Yep. So Stephon Diggs not coming. Davante Adams not coming. DeAndre Hopkins, not coming. A, we have no cap space, guys. B,
not for them.
We don't need that. I mean, Stephon Diggs has been pretty much a malcontent everywhere he's been, both in Minnesota now and Buffalo. Devontae Adams is going to be paid like a top, almost like a quarterback, even though he's
it's going to get close to 30 mil, probably.
Yeah.
It's going to be crazy.
Hopkins there's concerns about him with his age and injury / suspension issues. Plus, you throw in the fact that, again, he's getting paid top money too as well. Guys, we're done. We're not going to sign anybody else major. So if
we can't afford to, that's why they got Waller.
If we sign anybody, it's somebody who gets cut towards the end of the preseason. That's the kind of players we're looking at there. Unless you get like one or two more camp bodies coming in here. But guys, mini camps already started. We're already into that part of the season. In fact, tomorrow we're going to give you guys our episode as far as updating on what's going on in the OTA minicamp here, because it's voluntary minicamp. I'm not going to give you guys an update day by day, and I know Rod doesn't want to do it either, because the people that are doing that, quite frankly, are struggling to give you actual, like, meaningful information and content. They're bored, basically. They don't know what to tell you about. We're going to tell you about things going on within the roster right now. We're going to talk about that kind of stuff, because that's what's important right now. We got a couple of other things here. Let's see here. Anthony also says, by the way, what's up, guys? What's up, Anthony?
What's up, man? Deuces.
We got Mark on here again as well. See, we got you this time. See, yeah.
No
fake name. He said, what up, guys?
It's call name.
And then he says also, don't see us signing anyone else of a big name unless maybe a couple of weeks before the season starts. That's when players that haven't been signed will sign way less. And I don't even think that, honestly. I think
I really don't see it. Just the way they're spending their cap, they're trying to do it very wisely to not get a bunch of A's, because you can't get a bunch of A's in yourself. They're looking to get a bunch of above average players that's going to play as a unit, and that's how you win rings like that. And that's how you win, championships.
Exactly, and that's
how
what
you
we're
win
all
pennants.
about.
That's how you win sports overall.
And then he says, Stephon Diggs, Devontae are not coming. Oh, he said that. Anthony says, amen. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Deb says, hey, what's up, Deb? She says, what about OPJ? Oh, wait, he went to the Ravens. Exactly. That's what all the talk was there.
Troll.
Because this is what happens, though, guys. I'm telling you,
Troll.
there are content creators out there, and I don't want to name any specifics. I don't want to be that negative person. But I'm telling you all right now, there are content creators out there that are struggling for content, and they're just going to do anything they can to give you guys any bit of news and make it seem like an episode, to keep popping episodes up. Whereas instead of doing that, we're going to go over with you what we think of this upcoming season, what we think of the individual groups. We got some other stuff planned as well. I think you guys will enjoy as well when that kind of stuff dries up as well. We will have legitimate content for you. We won't do clickbaiting. Yeah, we're not clickbaiting. We're not going to be
Drew might honeypot you.
What's honeypotting? I don't even know that one.
Oh, no.
Do I not want to know?
We'll let you Google that, and just don't let your wife find that history.
Oh, God. Clear that history real quick.
No, it's not really that bad. It's when a girl puts a fake profile up. Or there's also honey dicking, too.
Oh,
so
God.
when you put a fake profile up.
This is a catfish thing?
Kind of.
Okay.
You get honeypot it. Because,
I watched that show.
The honey around the pot.
Oh, God.
You get honeypot it.
Oh, God. All right. So, Deball says, did you see that Rodgers hurt his ankle today? God, he looks so old. Just saying.
That's funny. Actually, Deb, we were just talking about that right before the show.
We started right before the show, and I was like, I don't know. I think Giant fans are tired of talking about Jets and Rodgers.
Yeah.
And then there you bring it up.
Talking about how we were tired about talking about Rodgers and how it's blown up the media. Do we really want to talk about it? Because that's what everyone's talking about. But here we are talking about it.
All righty. So let's see. Connor also says that, but about the Kenny guy he's talking about, and I think it's Willekes. Is that what it is? Maybe, Connor, maybe you can spell it phonetically and let us know. It's young. So maybe he'll be past the injuries, get him cheap, got to have those backups. Maybe he'll step up with Chase Blackburn. Like I said,
because he's like 25, right? 26.
He was about 24 if I looked up.
Oh, okay. I was going to say 25, like turning into the season 25, 26.
Yeah. But like I said, my big thing is just, again, if you want to pick him up cheap and have him as a camp body and hope you hit some gold there, then go for it. But if you don't want any money, I'm good. I don't want to give minimum, nothing guaranteed. Connor says, why is it so many sports shows repeat constant same stories when there are 32 NFL teams and a lot of players? It gets so boring. Listen, you think that's crazy. Look, you try doing 3 episodes a week of the same exact team. but honestly, we do it because we love it. That's what it boils down to. Let's be honest. Rob and I are not getting rich off this. No. We are not. We're getting rich in our hearts and our souls.
It fights with our wives.
No, mine's pretty good. She's sitting there watching TV. She gets to watch whatever she wants now because I'm in here. He also says he's 25. So,
all right. So,
yeah, like I said, I didn't think it was quite that. So we were in between. You said 26. I said 24.
I said 25 to 26. Yeah.
Okay.
I thought it would be 26 the following season.
I thought he was somewhere between 1 year old and 99.
Yeah. Somewhere in the
middle. Alrighty, guys. So before we get started with our topic of the day of the linebackers, we got to remind everybody to look at the bottom of your screen as you're watching live or on replay, or if you are, just happen to not notice it. There it is, right there. It says, like the show, support us at buymeacupofcoffee.com/2 Giant Goofballs. Again, that's buymeacupofcoffee.com/2 Giant Goofballs. And that's if you want to sponsor the show there. This episode is brought to you by our old friend, John S. Anderson Jr. I know a lot of y'all in the comments section have been asking where he's been at. He hasn't been able to come on live with us here in the comments section like he's usually very active. Hopes to come back on soon. But he's still watching it. So, John, as you're watching this later on, man, thank you very much. Very much appreciated.
Thanks, John.
Hope to have you on live again soon, man. Definitely miss you on the show here. All right, let's see here. We got Connor says, yeah, but we talk about a lot. They don't. We get into more on here than those bums do. That's because they're bums, Connor. That's because they're bums.
You're a bum, kid.
Let's be honest here. This show as a whole, and I'll tell you, most of the people that I've talked to or seen comments and reviews on and stuff like that, if you look, we have one bad review on Apple Podcasts. I'll give you that as an example. The guy complained that we joke around too much.
With the name like 2 Giant Goofballs.
2 Giant Goofballs, people. If that doesn't give it away, that we're going to be talking about the Giants, and we're going to at least attempt to be humorous in the process.
With a humorous goofball name.
Yeah. But for the most part, people that are huge in the Giants and like to have a little fun in life, they tend to like the show. And it's much appreciated to have you all on here because it's nice that, you see the comment section's been growing as we've been doing live episodes now for what? 4 months maybe or so. That's it. Like it's only been 4 months we've been doing this, guys, and it's nice that I'm seeing a community developing. We consistently are seeing same people popping back on again. We're consistently seeing new people popping in and out as well, and it's nice to see, guys. It's much appreciated, seriously.
Yeah.
So it's much like the joke around here. Thank you very much for that.
We are the goofballs, but you're all our goofballs.
You're all goofballs. So Mark says, also, linebacker depth scares me. Outside of Okereke, people depending on Beavers. Remember, he's a 6th-round pick. Slow your roll. How he played last preseason was against vanilla offenses. Okay, we're going to dive right into that there, man. We're going to dive right into that. And Connor also says, we might joke around, but we get into depth at all positions on our team. We even talk about other teams, Dakota. Don't rile up the Eagle fan, Connor. All righty, guys. So first, obviously, we're going to talk linebackers, and we're going to do what we've been doing, going kind of our idea of like best to worst. And I would like to kind of put the young guys at the end, the rookies at the end too. So sometimes it's not.
It's not. So you can't really say it's not a top 10 caliber, if you will, per se.
And the countdown.
Yeah, it's not the countdown. It's like
the final countdown.
But like we will talk about like who we obviously think is going to start, and then it breaks down from there. Like you and I might have a little disconnect on some of the things.
Degeneration X.
But we pretty much approve on the reason why everything's there.
I like how you're trying to continue your thought while I'm doing like old WWF stuff in the background. See, here's what it boils down to is I'm very big on if you are a rookie, your buck goes to the bottom of the pile. You got to prove your way up. Like I flipped on today. I think it was a PFF. I think did a top 5, and this is up your alley here, man. This is a top 5 fantasy running backs, and they put number 3 as I'll give you number 1 and 2. Let's see if you can think number 3 is going to be Rob. Number 1, they put Christian McCaffrey. Number 2, they put Austin Eckler. Who do you think they put at number 3?
They definitely put one of the rookies.
John Robinson.
Yeah.
Let's have the man carry the ball one goddamn time in the NFL. We put it in top 5 anything. Yeah. So anyway, Bobby Okereke. Let's start right from the top here.
Okereke.
Guaranteed starter. If this guy doesn't start, something went entirely wrong or he's injured. We're paying the man $10 million a year for a reason.
Yeah, there's a reason why we sought out this guy.
Huge.
This is the reason why he was the first guy we got.
I should say this as well. He sought out us.
Yeah.
There's been notes and comments where he said point blank to his agent, get me to New York. Now, here's the funny thing. I'll say this real quick. I heard him say, get me to New York. I never heard him say, get me to the Giants.
Oh,
So I'm just going to give that little thing that I've never seen anybody else mention. His quote was, get me to New York. It wasn't get me to the Giants. So, but the nice thing is he still wanted to be here, folks.
Yeah. And
pay me $10 million. I want to move back to New Jersey as well. Just saying.
Yeah. I won't leave New Jersey if you pay me $10 million.
I mean, the tax difference from here in Florida will be killer, but I'll suffer in silence.
Yeah. But Drew, how many tackles did he have last year?
Oh, he had 151 tackles. 151 tackles.
Yeah,
and 99 solo.
And how much
defended. How much forced fumbles, 2 fumble recovery.
And that's pretty much what our linebackers did as a team last year.
As a whole, as a group.
So, starting.
For all y'all that are tired of seeing Jalen Smith come out of the trash heap of the NFL for the last 2 seasons, if all goes right, that should never happen again.
Yeah.
Never. At least the next couple of years. But he's 26 years old, guys. 6'1", 235 pounds, 3rd round pick in 2019 of the Colts. And while I don't think he's a complete linebacker, and that's going to sound bad coming out, but what I mean is, if you look at Wink's defense, the way he does things, he wants to send people out from different blitz packages and stuff like that. He didn't have a single sack or QB hit last year. He's had them in the past, but this year he focused on that. And we're going to have to find out, is that Indianapolis's defense, was he centered on, just plug in the middle, stopping the running back inside runs? I admit freely to not being as big a Colts guy as I am a Giants fan, obviously, or else we'd have 2 Colt goofballs.
Yeah.
But you have to see. I mean, I think that he's a huge, massive, and I can't even stress that's why I'm saying it multiple times, upgrade over everybody
let's talk
else.
about how much of a dumpster fire of a team that was last year.
Oh, let's not. Oh, you mean the Colts, or you mean
Colts?
Oh, I think you meant the linebacker position for the Giants, because that was also a dumpster fire.
It was, but I'm just saying, look at the Colts. Like, they fired their head coach for Jeff Saturday.
Well, yeah, they were tanking.
So
let's call it what it is. They were tanking. I'll say it.
Oh yeah. So you can't really look at his stats from last season to really retain to his talent that he has. Look what Wink's done with subpar talent and make them look average or better. You take a guy like this, you put him to Wink's defense.
Yeah.
He's going to do a lot of great things. Like, he's not the 100% complete guy like Drew was saying.
No.
But he is a massive upgrade. A massive upgrade. Not super massive because he's not 335 pounds. He's 235 pounds. But he will make a big difference on this defense.
Oh, yes. And guess what, guys? Before we get to our next player, we have something here. I didn't even share this with Rob yet in private chat or anything.
You son of a gun.
Oh, yes. Breaking news. Mark's the one I had to share this with us. Washington might have to change their name again. Apparently, somebody already has the rights of the Washington Commanders name. What a messed up franchise. And I hadn't heard that bit of news. I've been at work all day. I just get out of work.
All I saw is that they gave up a player. I didn't even get to read the article about a former Super Bowl player, which is probably someone that's like 4 years old. But
so here's what happened. So the Commander's trademark apparently was still pending, and it was denied because it was denied for the existence of a trademark for Commanders with Commanders apostrophe Classic. And pending applications filed by a man in the D.C. area. So they've been calling themselves the Washington Commanders for the past year without a trademark.
How was that? How did they not get sued last year?
Yeah. So the Commanders Classic is the name of the annual college football game between the Army and the Air Force. Also, there's a person who filed trademarks for Washington Space Commanders and Washington Wolf Commanders at a time when he was trying to squat on teams' potential names.
I mean, you can get around those trademarks.
I don't know. I mean, if they're denying it, they're going to have to change the name, or else anybody can make stuff.
I mean, I'm sure there's some way they could definitely go to court. Like Space Commanders, okay. Lion Commanders, all right. The one with apostrophe, like
first off, I want the Washington Wolf Commanders. I think that's the one it should be.
It's pretty badass.
It's pretty badass, yeah. All right, back to the linebackers. We just had to share that real quick there. We do have a couple more.
How about the Beaver Commanders?
That would be good. Hashtag save our Beavers.
Yeah.
We do got a couple more comments here. Connor says, "What the duck? LOL." Like the shirt, Drew, and can't tell what Roberto's shirt says. As my shirt does say, what?
It's not a mallard, Drew.
It's not a mallard. I didn't say it was a mallard. It was a duck.
Oh, we had this conversation offline.
A mallard is a duck. A duck is not necessarily a mallard.
Oh, wow. Sounds like someone smart said that.
Yes. What does he say? He said, Houston, we have so many problems. Is that what it says?
Yeah.
So many problems.
And I got this at the JFK Center.
Guys, for those of you listening on the audio podcast, these are the kind of breakthrough things that you miss if you're just on audio only and not on the video. You don't get to see the shirts we're wearing.
That when I go to Texas, I have to go to where NASA was.
And today, Drew is fashioned by Cole from like 10 years ago because this is a really effing old shirt.
That's quacktastic.
Quack, quack. Affleck. Mark's also got to buy it from the person will cost millions. Yeah, it would cost millions, and that's what. So I still think Wolf Commander should be the name. Anyway, on to our next linebackers. We'll save that for the DC people to talk about their franchise with no name.
Beaver Commanders.
Not to be confused with being through a desert with a horse with no name. So next up, Darrian, leave it to Beavers. And yeah, hashtag save your Beavers, I know. 6'4", 255 pounds, 23 years old.
Beaver.
Drafted in the 6th round last year. One of our many rookies to never see the field, basically. Looked really, really promising in the preseason. And we're going to talk about another guy who was drafted, earlier in that same draft that we have further down the pile, even though he was drafted around prior to Darrian Beavers. But Beavers looked damn good. And I did say that on purpose. Yes, that was a pun. Beavers looked damn good in the preseason.
Is that a damn or goddamn?
Goddamn. So the big question marks are, can he succeed in the regular season? Because there's plenty of people that succeed in the preseason. And then you pop them in a regular season against more complicated offenses, as somebody in the comments section alluded before. more complicated offense, better personnel you're going against as well, because a lot of teams rest their starters during the preseason. So I think a lot of guys got really excited about him. Whenever it was time to see him play in the preseason, because of the fact that, again, we haven't had good linebackers in forever. So like, oh my God, we got a diamond in the rough, so to speak. Like, who was that kid we got from Wisconsin a couple of years ago, got hurt after like 4 games?
It's like the copper in the rough.
We traded him.
It was better, but it wasn't good.
I forget who, but I forget the name off the top of my head. Think somebody in the comment section. I know someone's going to know this off the top of their head. Linebacker, a couple of years ago, we got him from Wisconsin. He played 1 year, was good for a couple of weeks, got hurt, and then we traded him in the offseason to the Minnesota Vikings. I want to say 2-3 years ago. I am drawing a blank big time on my on this name for some reason. But anyway, yeah, like I said, you can't expect too much of a 6th-round pick. So and you can't expect much of that of a guy coming also off of a major injury. He did come off a major injury, guys. So
I mean, he's expected to play at his age.
Ryan Connolly. Sorry, I got the name. Ryan Connolly. Yeah. Remember a couple of years ago, he came out of nowhere. Yeah, we got really excited about him, and then he got traded off to the freaking Vikings in the offseason, and it was never to be heard from again. Just saying.
Yeah, this is true. But when it comes to Beavs, like. He tore his ACL.
Am I the only one wishing that Bobby Okereke's first name was Wally right now? Because if it was Wally and the Beaver in the middle, like, oh my God.
That'd be fantastic.
And I guarantee you anybody under the age of like 30 right now is, who the freak are they talking about?
Dude,
guys, watch some Nick at Night, goddammit.
I'm still got a few years on 30, and I'm like,
I know way too much on old TV and old movies and all. Like, way, way, way too much. I can go back to like the 1930s on movies and stuff like that. Like I'm that guy. So, but anyway, Wally was his brother, played by a man named Tony Dow. Yes, I even know the actor's name. That's how crazy it is. Yes, I think he died recently, actually, too, a couple years ago.
Way to bring the episode down.
Beaver's still alive, though. The Beaver's alive. Jerry Mathers is his name, by the way.
Save the Beav.
Save the Beavers. Hashtag save our Beavers. Yeah. Anyway. So
he tore his ACL early in the preseason, so like he is expected to come back and hopefully be able to start.
Welcome back. Welcome to
the jungle.
No, I was doing Mr. Cotter now.
I know what you were doing.
Yes.
I was bringing back at least to the 90s.
TV show that gave us John Travolta. By the way, every time I do any singing, I can see our viewership just drop. Someone just left the room, I can see.
Like, God damn it, we didn't sign up for American Idol.
It's a musical, God damn it. But I mean, I think it's safe to say that Darrian Beavers will be, at the worst case scenario, a backup for us that will see the field at times. Best case scenario for him, he gets a starting job alongside Okereke.
Yeah, agreed.
Yes. LB number 2.
Numero dos.
Yes. Thank you. Appreciate that. Just in case somebody's listening and doesn't speak English.
Español. ¿Dónde estás los laboratories?
Español está un idioma muy fácil. Anyway.
Yeah, penicillin? What?
No. I said Spanish is a very easy language.
I know.
It really is. Not that difficult. A lot of people complain. Anyway, Jared Davis. Next up on our list. 6'1", 245 pounds, 28 years old, drafted in the first round of 2017 by the Detroit Lions. He's the old man. He really is. It's funny how, like, you look at our lineup and most of our players, like, he's like 27. He should be put out to a pasture now.
Meanwhile, get out there.
I'm like old enough to be like, some of these guys' fathers.
Oh, I'm almost there.
Well, I mean, if they were like 24 at that point, that was like, actually, impregnating a girl at like 15 or 16, then I could technically be. I mean,
MTV did come up with that show.
They did. teen moms and team. There's no team dads though. No one ever thinks of the fathers.
Yeah, right.
You should come out with a special just for Father's Day.
All the single dads out there.
All the single dads. All the single dads. All the single dads.
All the single dads.
Anyway, last year for the I was going to say for us, but he actually spent more time with the Lions than he did with us. He had the one game he started with us in the regular season. He had the 2 postseason games he started as well. Postseason stats aside, preseason wise, regular season wise, 4 games, 1 start, 11 tackles, 6 solo, 1 passes defended, half a sack, and a QB hit. So the big thing with him is he's a run stopper. That's what he was known for always. That's what he does. I think in the end,
we needed last year.
Yeah, and I think in the end, we can't judge him too much based on what we saw because let's be frank, he got thrown into our defense at the very end, not knowing anything whatsoever. And I kind of feel bad for the guy to a certain degree because that was not an easy position. And I think he handled himself pretty well overall.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's rough. That's a rough way to go into this where you don't know anything about the defense. You've never played for this guy before because he never played for Wink. It's not like he came from Baltimore. We know the system, he knows the lingo.
I mean, this guy's, like you said, come from Baltimore. I wouldn't be surprised. He does all the volunteer practices.
Yep.
He comes in. He does, camp. He comes into the preseason, and he looks that much better. And Beaver damns this guy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to be rooting for Beavers over him. And part of it is because of the 5-year age difference, to be very frank. And the fact that we got 3 years cheap left for Beavers. And if Jared Davis has a good year and we have to keep him next year, we're going to have to pay him.
Yeah, 100% we are.
I want the guy that's young, the guy that we drafted, the guy that is going to be homegrown. Plus, if Beavers looks as good as he did in the preseason when he goes in the regular season, that's a score for us. That's an upgrade at both linebackers into 3-4.
I also wouldn't be surprised if Davis starts the year over Beavers.
Yep.
And then it flips.
Oh, that's definitely possible, especially as Beavers gets healthier and healthier.
That's what I'm saying. Because that ACL injury, it's a tricky thing to come back from. And, who knows, by week 10, he goes lights out, like pouring gasoline on a fire.
If anything I have learned in life, it's you have to be gentle with the Beavers.
Sometimes you got to do the jackhammer.
But yeah, I'm with you 100%. I mean, I think the two of them
all the way
are probably going to be interchangeable to a certain degree in the beginning, and I'm hoping for Beavers to take it away in the end. I would say Jared Davis is probably end up starting 4 games this year at least before that kind of situation. Yeah, and I'm with you. I think that's probably the likely scenario. That really is. So
close to half the season. I wouldn't even say 4 games. Probably closer to half the season. Once Beavers starts getting more confident on that ACL, because you got to figure it's almost a full year, right? What was it? Week 3, week 2? Was it week 1 in preseason?
What, when Beavers got hurt? Yeah, I think it was about week 3.
That's what I'm saying, week 3. So he's fully recovered, quote unquote, week 1, but is he mentally fully recovered? So if it takes him 8 games.
I think mentally he's probably, to be honest, raring to go because here's a guy who's entering his career in the NFL, started looking good, and all of a sudden that happens. If anything, this guy is chomping at the bits to get in the field and show he can do what he did.
You're right, but more times over not, a lot of the guys coming off a severe surgery like that, there's a mental aspect to it. Not just a physical. You want to get back in the game, but you also don't want to be off another year where you're not going to be able to play for another year and show your worth.
I think it depends.
Look at Barkley.
Everybody's going to be a little different. I really do. I think so. We'll have to see what happens there. All righty. Before we get back to that, we have a few comments here. Let's see here. Mark says he should shave his head and be called Ball Beavers. Beaver jokes are coming, guys. Connor says, I think this is definitely you, Rob. He says we need to get a hot girl in a New York Giants bikini on Roberto's wall behind him. He needs some big blue background. LOL. I think what they're referring to, Rob, is the fact that I had this smorgasbord behind me, including, of course, the not Travelocity lawn gnome. And they're saying you need one. So we're gonna have to. Maybe
I don't know if I can do the bikini back here because the missus will probably not appreciate falling asleep to some big-titted girl.
Listen, if you put it up in a frame, you can always get
classy.
No. It's not just that it's classy. You can get one of those like two-way frames and you turn around. No, you can turn around. Turn around.
Every now and then, big titties turn into a football player.
No. You turn it around and make it like some do Taylor Swift at the side. She'll love that. So like Taylor Swift on one side, bikini model on the other, and every time you stop shooting, you just turn it around.
Every time she walks in the room, that's recording.
All right, we got a couple more comments here. Mark says Goodson or something like that. Connor says BJ Goodson. Nope, that was Ryan Connolly. Who, by the way, I did look up real quick while we're talking because I can sometimes multitask. He's actually still in the league. He's been hurt nonstop apparently, and he finally got cut by the Vikings there in August of last year, and then he was he put in the reserve pup list, actually. Then he was activated in October, then waived, then re-signed to the practice squad. And then just in January, the Saints signed him to a futures reserve contract so he at least gets a camp invite with the Saints. So he's still in the league. I didn't know that. I hadn't heard a damn thing about him since he went to the Vikings. But apparently, again, he's been hurt nonstop. So typical Giants pick. Let's see. Connor says, I like bald beavers, but I like some hair. Maybe not 1970s hair down there.
Little lightning bolt.
Shazam. We're getting a little TMI here on this one. Connor says, just put up during the show she's not allowed in. Only you are. LOL. Oh, my gosh. All right. Next up, we got the one rookie, the only rookie in the entire 2022 Giants draft class who played in all 17 games. Micah McFadden. Oh, yes. The Iron Man of the 2022 draft class.
He did it.
Oh, yes, he did.
He did it. He really did it.
Oh, yes. So, 6'2", 232 pounds, 23 years old, drafted in the 5th round, 2022, as we said. 17 games again, 7 starts, 59 tackles, 36 solo, 1 forced fumble, 2 sacks, 2 QB hits. So the question becomes, what becomes of McFadden? Someone okay back there? I hear hacking. Hacking along back there.
Everyone's all right.
I think what's going to end up happening here with him is I don't think he gets the chance to start. I think the Giants saw from him this past season that he's probably not starter caliber in the NFL. Let's be honest. We don't get Jared Davis for week 17 if Micah McFadden was showing you something. Yeah. When you said, I would rather get a guy who's never been in this room the entire season, knows nothing on this defense, and start him over Micah McFadden. That tells you something.
Says a lot. This is a guy that, to me, like he definitely makes the practice squad, but I think he's going to be more like a reserve kind of guy.
I think, to me, reserve / special teams, or they try to sneak him onto the practice squad.
Yeah, I think a reserve spots where he's going to go and rotate in, give some guys some breaks. Like he when he was on the field, he didn't embarrass himself.
No.
I don't know if I would say he looked like an average NFL player.
I wouldn't say
once
that.
again, you wouldn't be.
I don't think any of our linebackers, none of our linebackers looked average.
But also at the same time, like
thing for them.
But who knows? Like you could also see this guy develop big time with the talent that we've got in this offseason.
I don't see it personally what I saw.
I mean, I'm just saying, like when you play with. So if you want to train to be the best, you got to train with the best. That's something like I was a competitor for a lot of my life. You have to be with the best. If you're trying to be the best,
I got that Rocky song in my head now. What's that? No. It's like you're the best around.
No, it's Karate Kid.
Oh, is that Karate Kid? It was Karate Kid. Wrong 80s movie.
Yeah, you're the best. And Rocky was 19 76.
The first one was. I consider Rocky still an 80s series because a lot of them were in the early 80s.
Was it the second one like 78?
I think like 79, and then after that,
then the rest were in the 80s.
17 ones were in the 80s.
Yeah, pretty much. So, but I'm saying, like, so you get Okereke.
Yes.
You get this guy that's full of talent that's been in the league for a while now. And you got this guy that's coming off his rookie season. Didn't embarrass himself. Didn't look fantastic. Didn't embarrass himself. And he could learn a few pointers. He could turn around and look a lot better. Because also in this position, players look a lot better in their second season. And he could learn from a guy that's been around the league and has played pretty darn well.
I hold no hope. I just don't. Here's my thing. If I saw some promise, I can say, okay, maybe he can help reach his potential. I didn't see the promise. What I think the best is going to be for him is a reserve spot. He comes in, especially on passing plays, because he's not a horrible pass rusher.
I see the reserve spot, but I hold
his
no hope size
long term.
Well, his size and the way he plays reminds me. It looks kind of like Okereke just from Walmart.
I don't see it, man. I'm not a big fan of McFadden. Like I said,
I'm not saying I'm a big fan. I'm just trying to say when you're a rookie. I'm just trying to say when you're a rookie and you come in, don't be surprised if he makes this to a starting job. If he starts this year,
well, I'll be surprised.
But
I'll be highly surprised.
I also am not.
You'll see my shocked face.
I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm also not expecting it.
Of course, you're not expecting.
I'm not expecting.
You can't get pregnant. You're a man.
I'm not expecting. I've only missed my period for the last 37 years.
Was that your vibrator in the background?
It was. Call my neighbor's Acura. Actually,
I see someone's compensating in your neighborhood. Let me guess, he's like 4'10".
Just about.
But yeah, like I said, we'll see what happens with him overall. Second year again, and we do never know in the end. But that's what I think personally. Like I said, I think reserve guy, possibly treating him on the practice squad. We seem to be in agreement on that part. You just seem to think he has a little more potential than I do.
Yeah, I see a little more potential than the downfall. I see more reserve special kind of area that can make more starts than go into the practice squad.
I see a guy.
I am not surprised if he goes the other way on the spectrum.
I think personally, if he doesn't excel in special teams, he'll be out of the league real quick. That's what I think with him.
Well, next year we'll tell.
Yes, exactly. Next up, we have the Giant veterans, the guys who feel like they've been playing for us for the last 15 years, even though it's only been 3. No, seriously. You know who we're about to talk about. And don't tell me doesn't feel like they've been a Giant forever. Forever.
It really does.
It really does. First up, Carter Coughlin. Get Carter. We went back to Sylvester Stallone. 6'3", 236 pounds, 25 years old. Drafted in the 7th round of 2020. Last year, 17 games, 0 starts, 9 tackles, 7 solo, 1 fumble recovery. And I still think, and I didn't look up the stats to see specifics, I think that pretty much every tackle he had was special teams. That's what he is. He's a special teamer.
Pretty much.
I mean, in a pinch, you're going to put him at linebacker, and he's called a linebacker, but he's a special teamer. That's what he is. Now, do you want us to lump the next guy together, or do you want to talk about these guys separately? Because I could easily lump these two together.
We can lump them together because I feel like it's very, I think it's a very similar tale of the tape here.
Exactly. So next up on this list, Cam Brown, 6'5", 233 pounds. Now, I got to say this as well. I looked up because I was trying to verify his age. I just, Googled him. The first picture of him coming up was in a football uniform, kind of, at the players do nowadays, they tuck their jerseys underneath. I got to say, this guy has an amazing 6-pack. When his career is up, he can do like an 8-minute abs himself at that point video and probably make
He's
a ton
an
of money.
ab jabber or something.
Like, I could not believe. I was like, oh my god, like there's like not an ounce of fat in this kid in that picture. I was like, this seriously, like my beer belly needs to learn this trick, okay? Like seriously. So Cam Brown, if you want to come on the show, even though we're about to
listen, I got abs like him. I get that 6-pack like he does. It's just stuck in the cooler.
Yeah. Oh, dude, mine's a beer ball I swallowed.
Yeah. Oh my kid, I got a cake.
But yeah, so at 25 years old, drafted in the 6th round of 2020. So they're both drafted right around the same time. 17 games, 0 starts, 6 tackles, 3 solo. And again, I'm pretty sure every single one of them was on special teams. I don't think I've even seen Cam Brown play defense.
Yeah, I want to say that he pretty much was.
Carter Coughlin, I think, popped in very a little bit, but not
he
much.
Did. I want to say I think he got that the fumble recovery. Was it?
I want
to say it was one of those Commanders games.
Which Commanders? The bowl game or the Wolf Commanders or?
We're not going to go into all that. Sorry, one of those not Washington State games.
Oh, okay. But here's where my dilemma comes with these guys. Both these guys
I'm gonna have to go back real fast. Okay, I'm upset about the whole Commander thing because, gosh darn it, I finally got used to calling them the Commanders and not.
Gosh darn it! You're gonna get.
I want to say something.
I booted it off YouTube with this profanity. Linebackers.
There was other things I wanted to say, but I didn't want to get kicked off YouTube. But I finally got used to saying Commanders. I'm not gonna have to come up with a new name. I'm saying other things. It's the formerly Washington football team.
Anyway,
just getting upset by that.
So I think what it boils down to for me with both these players, that's why I'm saying we can kind of lump them together, and I'm glad you agreed. They're both in the same category for me, okay? You've been in the league 3 years now. You're not a linebacker, neither one of you. But you're not bad special teamers. So it's like, what do you do with a player like that? Because, like, do you value them on special teams? Or do you sit there and say, I need somebody who can actually pop on the field too?
So when it comes to that, like with these the two of them, like Coughlin, I think is one of those guys that I would trust a little bit more in the Brown to do that. But at the same time, what was one of our biggest weak points last year?
Linebacker.
There's a lot of weak points, but one of the biggest parts of the team we've always talked about that
backup secondary.
Backup secondary. Yes, the special teams. That special teams that just couldn't get it right.
The punter.
Yes, the punter.
Goddamn punter. Scottish hammer. It's more like a rubber mallet.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you on the idea of we struggled on special teams in some regards, and it's like, do you want to take away guys who have shown to be good on coverage teams and stuff like that, like these two have? But here's the problem I run into is the potential for what you gain by having somebody else who actually plays defense, to me at least, is most likely going to outweigh what you lose by having somebody else play special teams. It's like, are we going to have, like, let's say they miss one tackle because we didn't have Carter Coughlin or Cam Brown on the team. That one tackle, don't get me wrong, could be a touchdown because we give up on the return team. Don't get me wrong. Like, special teams, I'm not trying to disown the notion of them being important because they are.
I hear that. So, like we said, like there's about a certain amount of linebackers who want to keep on this field.
Yes, and we did the research on it. We had 5 last year. You could even stretch it out to say 6 if you want, because Landon Collins was on at one point as an extra guy as well. He's kind of safety / linebacker. But
so I'm just saying, like, would you want to put like McFadden or Davis or even Beavers on special teams?
I think McFadden could very well go on to special teams. I think Beavers or Davis could also go on to special teams. I don't think either of them, even if we keep Cam Brown or Carter Coughlin, those guys are probably on either way. Most times, unless you're like a star linebacker, you are on return teams. Like, I mean, you're on the coverage teams because a linebacker is the perfect person to put. In fact, there's a lot of rosters that are reason to keep so many of these linebackers, these off-ball linebackers, as people call them nowadays. I hate that. It's middle linebacker. I've always called them as. I'm the old school 3-4, a 4-3 guy instead of a 3-4. That's it. But that's what they call them now, off-ball linebackers. The reason a lot of them carry a lot of them is because of this. It's like, they want to have these guys who are specifically good at tackling on special teams. But to me, especially with all the injuries we've had over the years, the many, many years of injuries, I want to have somebody who actually can play the position as well. So I look at it as like, okay, I'd rather keep Micah McFadden than Carter Coughlin and see if he does develop like Rob hopes. I'd rather have.
So if we have what do we say? Okereke.
So we got Okereke, we got Beavers, we got Jared Davis automatically on the roster. That's 3 right there. So that gives you 2, maybe 3 spots.
So from there we go. So there we go, McFadden, right?
Yeah.
And then maybe keep one of these guys for special teams. So
Possibly.
In.
Possibly.
That's all I was trying to get at.
It depends on what you think of the next 2 guys we're going to talk about in a minute. And to be very frank, we're not going to have a damn clue until we see these guys in camp, see them in preseason, have a better idea of what their capabilities are. But I would rather keep a guy who is 22 years old and shows some promise in the preseason than a guy who's 25 years old that we've had on our roster for 3 years now that hasn't shown a damn thing on actual defense. That's where I'm at. So it all depends on how well the next couple guys plays. If they don't play well and you want to keep Carter Coughlin, because at least in a pinch you can play him at linebacker, but it's really a pinch. Like, you got to be desperate. Then go for it. But to me, you either make these guys reserves or you cut them and you cut bait and you move on. Because it's not like these are guys that are hard to replace either. It's not like you're like, oh my God, we lost Cam Brown. Our season is over. What will we do?
I don't think anyone's saying that out there.
I don't think so at all. So like I said, let's not hold on to them as if they're gold. It's fool's gold. So, all right. Before we get into the next 2, we got 2 more linebackers to go over here. We got some more comments here. Let's see here. Connor is listing a whole bunch of linebackers and edge players. Says USA at the end. Mark says,
that line.
Mark says, McFadden seems too light.
But he's really not, though.
If you think he's light at 232 pounds, well, he's 3 pounds less than Okereke. That's it. And he's about to be a huge amount less than somebody we're going to talk about in a minute. So you're going to be really disappointed in a minute if you judge linebackers based on weight. He says he'd be great as a linebacker on 3rd and long. He is athletic. Honestly, I think the athletic guy they really want is Beavers. So we got to see what he does. I don't think it's just us that like Beavers. I think that the coaching staff was kind of really disappointed to get him hurt, not just because they don't want any players hurt, but because he showed some potential. He showed a whole lot more potential than McFadden did when they were both playing in preseason. Beavers was next to him. He looked better. Hands down.
A lot.
So Connor says, Daniel's son, because we were talking about the Karate Kid there before. Deb says, McFadden will be selling Thumans. Oh. That's like a step down from Coney Island Nathan's hot dogs. Thumans. Hot dogging. And then Connor says, still can't believe they didn't go get Micah Parsons. I was screaming at TV saying, get him, and they didn't. And we took Tony, and we knew he was going to be distraction. I think the Tony pick, which obviously was Gettleman's last first-round pick, when you put that in perspective, it kind of really sums up, what the Giants did under Gettleman. They made some questionable moves with some questionable people. I'm not going to bring up a certain cornerback from Georgia. Screw it, I'm going to do it. DeAndre Baker, okay? Baker and Tony, 2 absolute wasted first-round picks. And you cannot waste first-round picks in this league. Not every single one of them needs to be a Pro Bowler, but they need to be legitimate starters on their team. Have to be. So, let's see. Mark says, I can see McFadden replace Brown and Coughlin as SST
Special
specialist.
teams.
Yeah, I know what he meant. I'm just putting it the way he did it. If he does well in special teams. Yeah, but definitely a possibility there. I would take him over those two in a heartbeat. Connor says, I call my beer belly the big keg.
IPA or light beer?
That doesn't sound like a light beer if it's a big keg.
Yeah.
Connor says, Cowboys shot a lot of Indians. I'm offended. Make them change their name. LOL. Mark says, we are talking about bald beavers, and he's worried about saying, gosh darn it, LOL. He makes a very valid point. Connor says, don't talk bad about the Scottish Hammer, Drew. Your last warning, LOL. He knows how I am. Connor says, just went out to take the garbage out and it poured on me. I'm all wet. How about you ladies? LOL. What the hell? Connor, this is not a pickup lounge. I just want to know.
Did you have beavers with you?
While that happened, were you listening to headphones and was the song Pour Some Sugar on Me coming onto the radio at that point? Because that'd be spectacular. That just would add to the whole mystique of the situation. So on to our rookies. Like I said, rookies go at the bottom of the pile unless you're a starter at that point, like a John Michael Schmitzer was an example, because he's going to start at center obviously all day long. Troy Brown's first up. So 5'10", 177 pounds. Mark, told you, you're about to be disappointed. I said that right. That was not a mistake. 177 pounds, guys.
That was my freshman year of high school.
Oh, that was like actually, I think I graduated high school still not being that weight, which is crazy because I was over 6 foot easily. So undrafted free agent at Ole Miss this year for 13 games last year. In college, obviously, I'm giving college stats here. 93 tackles, 5 passes defended, 1 forced fumble, and half a sack. Before that, he went to actually play over at Central Michigan. He was that super senior there. He got his 5th year over at Ole Miss. He played 4 years in Central Michigan, was a 3-time All-MAC. So he's had success at 2 different schools. And I'm kind of curious what he does in camp. Because if you want to talk about an outlier, we were worried about Emmanuel Sanders being 166 pounds and playing corner. This guy's 177 pounds, it said. Mark says, I show him at 6'1", 220 pounds. If I'm looking at the wrong thing, I'm going to be ticked off. Don't show me up, Mark. We're going to look that up now. But yeah, I mean, that's an issue there. Let's see here. Let's see where he's got him. Okay. Now I'm seeing 247 Sports has him at 200 pounds. ESPN has him at 220. I don't remember which website I got him at 177 pounds here, but Sports Reference. So yeah, you got 3 different spots giving 3 different weights on him, all different. That's weird.
Yeah,
that's a weird one.
The Giants website has him at 220.
220. So this guy's gained a lot of weight recently. That's actually pretty good to see. Because that's, even at the 200 pounds, that's light as hell. So kudos to Troy Brown. Gained some weight. I could have taught him how to do that very easily.
He got
Come
the
over to my
too.
house. Come over to my house. I'll show you how to gain some weight. You won't get any muscle, but I mean, but still, 200, 220 pounds, either one of those, he's still light. He's still really, really light. And I'm still looking to see what okay, here it is. So his last year at Central Michigan, he was 177 pounds. That's what it was.
That's a lot of weight difference.
He gained 23 pounds before we played at Ole Miss, they're saying. So what did the Giants have him again?
220.
220. So this man has gained almost 50 pounds in 2 years.
So that's also something to be like to look out for. That's a lot of weight fast.
That's a lot of weight. Dude, this guy's
a lot of
fail
weight
a drug
fast.
test.
Either
that's more than creatine.
Even if he's doing all that, that affects his joints, his movability, and his speed.
Yep.
So all you fight fans out there.
Seriously.
GSP.
Dynamite.
Yeah, George St. Pierre, one of the greatest middleweights of all
I
times.
TNT.
He wanted to step back and go up a weight class, but he wanted to do it right. He just didn't want to do whatever. He took 4 years off to gain like 15 pounds of solid muscle.
Okay. Real quick,
pounds.
so people don't think I'm BSing here. Here it is on camera, if it'll ever focus on it. Troy Brown. Can you read that, what it says the weight is?
You're all blurry, Drew.
There you go. 188 pounds they listed him at 247 sports. Listen, no, what I'm saying is, so he's gained that much weight. That is legit.
Look at his profile picture.
Oh, I see that.
I'm saying, look at Mr.
Yeah. He gained a lot of weight. I mean, you see the picture here that he had in 247, and this is him at Ole Miss.
Yeah, you can see it. Like, just
he has gained a ton of weight. Wow, that's impressive. Like I said, now what I'm really hoping is, I'm blurry now from us doing that. Hold on. There we go. I got myself back in focus now. You see how I did that? That's pretty cool, huh? No, you weren't drunk. I was blurry. But that's, part of me says that's a hell of a lot of good work ethic to gain that much weight, like 50 pounds in like 2 years. Part of me also wonders, though,
how much pasta did he have?
I don't know. It seems like a lot of weight to add, man. That seems like a lot of weight. So
that's why I brought in the GSP analogy there.
Yeah, it's just
like
now
to put weight on right. Like, it takes a lot of time.
It does, and that's a short amount of time to put in that kind of weight there. So, I guess the question is going to be is, how does he adapt to that kind of weight? And obviously he had some of that weight when he was over in Ole Miss, but like I said, I saw him listed at 200 at Ole Miss too, so he still put on 20 pounds since then as well. That one there was showing him Ole Miss when he first transferred over to 188 pounds. So he's been gaining weight all year long. Somebody must have told him basically, like, hey, you're not going to make it in the NFL at 177 pounds.
Probably what happened there.
Which is right. I mean, hell, if you're a linebacker, like, you want to be 166 pounds, you're going to have trouble even being a safety.
Yeah.
Let's be very frank and say he pretty much is safety size.
I mean, I think he would still be light. Well, now he is, yeah.
Nowadays, he's like maybe 5-10 pounds over for what you'd think of safety. He's kind of a tweener. So, like I said, we'll have to see what he can bring. Maybe he's finally our guy who can cover tight ends. That'd be nice. Look at your face light up.
Be nice.
But yeah, again, we'll have to see. I don't ever expect much from undrafted free agents. It's not to, say we don't find occasional Victor Cruz in there, but those are few and far in between, guys. Those are few and far in between, as much as we love the salsa. So I have him as practice squad / cut. I don't think him making the roster this year, unless he surprises us all, which possibility, and I would very much love. Because we talked about it before, maybe we keep McFadden and keep maybe Carter Coughlin or Cam Brown. If Troy Brown replaces Cam Brown, it makes it very easy on the uniform guy. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Just numbers.
The one's 6'5", one's 5'10". It might be a different size uniform they have.
Yeah.
And next up, we have Deontay Johnson out of Toledo, 6'2", 230 pounds, 22 years old, undrafted free agent this year. 14 games, 109 tackles, 66 solo, 3 passes defended, 1 forced fumble, 2 fumble recover, 3 sacks. So we talked about him obviously during the post draft there as well. He was one. Actually, it was during the post draft. So he was one of those guys that has really good vision overall, but doesn't show up on the athletic scores. So the question is he smart enough to make up for his physical deficiencies with his brain? Yeah. And sometimes, guys, they are the best players, those scrappy guys, the scrappy dudes at the NFL. Oh, yes, I went Scooby-Doo style. I mean, it's almost like, okay, I'm going to make a Jet analogy here. I know it sounds weird. I'm going to talk about the Jets for a second. This is almost like you go back to the 90s. Would you rather have Wayne Corbett or Keyshawn Johnson? Wayne Corbett was the better player. Keyshawn was the better talent.
Yeah. And brains beats
And I
bronze.
threw you for a loop doing a Jets one. You're like,
why would you gotta bring the Jets in here? But I mean,
I did. I lowered the jet in for a landing.
I mean, what was the old saying? The pen's mightier than the sword. What does it mean? Like, if
I
you
say
got
that
the
at work,
snark-
actually. I do all the time. Somebody's like, "Can I have a pen?" I'm like, "You can, but be careful. The pen is mightier than the sword."
Excalibur. Sling my pen.
I say weird things at work all the time. They don't have to deal with me. It is what it is. But yeah, I mean, again, I don't hold out much hope for either one of these two guys to do much of anything because they are both undrafted guys. But I think in the end, if you can put them on the practice squad, see what they develop into, or have it be your bottom level guy on your roster that maybe just pops mostly on special teams, and in a pinch you can put him on defense. Again, I'm cool with that as well. So I guess the time will tell as far as, what happens there. But again, it's a move that I think is going to be very interesting to see overall. It's kind of funny. I just realized too as well, because Mark corrected me on the weight thing as well, like you did. He said 6'1". I'm seeing here 6 foot is what I'm seeing as well. What do the Giants have Troy Brown at? Yeah, the page up a minute ago. Does it say 6'1"? So yeah, he's gained some inches. Is this like a late puberty thing? Is he growing hair in weird places?
Did he put a couple weights in his socks?
I don't know. I'm kind of curious to look more into this. We might have a whole episode on the transition in size of Troy Brown. Because like he mentioned the Troy Brown, the expatriate wide receiver, thinking it was that, but no, it said 177 pounds. Troy Brown was 190, which is what he put on there. Yeah, we're gonna find some more on that. I think that's kind of interesting to see the transition of Troy Brown. I didn't expect to have to do a deep dive into the height and weight of an undrafted free agent that I don't expect to even see on the whole season potentially. Wow, you just never know where the goofball show's going to go. So
we're talking about our light balls getting heavy.
Yeah. All right, guys. So let's recap real quick. We got 5 linebackers we said made the roster last year. You can switch it over to 6. Connor says Deontay. We just talked about Deontay Johnson. You missed it. You were taking the garbage again. So again, Bobby Okereke, definitely a starter. Beavers and Jarrad Davis fighting for that second starting spot there when they do have 2. Because keep in mind, sometimes even though it's a 3-4, sometimes you got 1 middle linebacker and that's it. So when there is 2, Darrian Beavers and Jarrad Davis fight for that second spot. Micah McFadden going between practice squad or reserve, depending on what they see from him in this preseason here. Carter Coughlin and Cam Brown either being special teams purely or getting cut because we need the space. And Troy Brown and Deontay Johnson both fighting it out basically to either be practice squad guys or to be cut with an outside chance one of them makes it as the last one if we decide to cut bait on both Carter Coughlin and Cam Brown.
Yeah.
I just gave the whole episode in 30 seconds.
That's called a recap.
That's a recap. Exactly, guys. What we in the biz.
The recap with no singing and no goofiness.
Oh, yes. There's always goofiness. Oh, yes. All right. Let's see. We got a couple of comments here. Mark says, this is 2 goofballs, not plenty of fish, Connor.
He's not wrong.
And then he says, I see him at 6'1", 220. This is what we're talking about with the
Giants
Brown thing. Yeah, like I said, it's weird. I'm still so perplexed by this. I want to look more into it. Connor says, she smells fishy. If it smells like a fish, it's a dish. If it tastes or smells like a bad cologne, leave it alone. Oh, my. And this was Mark talking about Troy Brown, the ex-Patriot wide receiver, thinking maybe I'd gotten that crossed up. But no, he said it was. And it's weird. Like I said, I'm seeing different heights, different weights. That's weird. And Mark says, that's a lot of Beavers. LOL. Yes, Deontay Johnson, Connor saying, and then he says, turn around. Hey, every now and then. Anyway, alrighty, guys. So again, tomorrow night we're going to have for you guys the update on what's going on as far as Giants news and the OTAs and the mini camp here that they're doing. Keep in mind, guys, this is voluntary mini camp. There's no pads on. There's no offense versus defense. This is mostly people shooting around in the dark, basically, from the media members that are able to go there and the stuff they see in pictures. So, like I said,
they're pretty much playing like half-ass street football.
Yeah. So we're basically going to give you guys what people have been trying to stretch out into multiple episodes into one, because in the end, there is not going to be a ton to talk about. There'll be enough to talk about to do one episode. We're not going to stretch around like, yes, he scored a touchdown.
Look at that throw.
Yes.
Almost a perfect spiral.
He would have caught that even with pads on.
Yeah.
Right. So again, guys, it's good to know this information because it gives you a heads up of what's going to potentially happen this season here. But we're not going to drag it out. We're going to do one simple episode, keep it simple. We'll do occasional episodes on giving you guys up to date what's going on with these mini camps and OTAs and all. So like I said, we're going to do that for you guys next. What I'm going to do after that is Rob and I are going to talk, and we're going to figure out which way to go, depending on, because we're pretty much done here as far as going over the position groups that have really changed. There really isn't much more to go over as far as that. So we have two different ideas we're tossing around here for you guys. So
we might spend one episode on our long snapper.
Oh yes.
And also, what was the
special teams episode?
Yeah, what was the other position that always messed up the Scottish Hammer? What was that?
I think we're talking
gunner?
about the gunner. Oh yes, the gunner is.
Yeah, we'll spend an episode on the gunner.
If I hear one more person talk about that, the gunner was why the Scottish Hammer sucked last year. The gunner did not make him kick into the end zone every goddamn time. Oh my gosh. Anyway, like I said, we'll talk about that, Rob and I, and then we'll let you guys know what we're gonna do next after that. As Mark says, do positional coaches. Like I said, we legitimate guys. We have two different ideas that I think you guys will actually really like. I think ideas that'll get you guys really going. I think we'll have some good conversation on. I'm leaning towards one. I don't want to say which one it is. I want to see what Rob says first. Oh, well, I want to get you involved as well. I don't want to be like saying it, and then we're stuck doing what I said at that point. It's 2 giant goofballs. It's not 1.5 giant goofballs. That
elephantitis goofballs.
Elephantitis. Don't mock me. I mean, what? I don't have elephantitis. Anyway. So, guys, appreciate you guys listening in today. Like I said, we'll be back on tomorrow night here for you for the final episode. He says, what about New York Giant cheerleaders? Yes or no? We don't have cheerleaders.
Yeah, no cheerleaders.
Yeah, we should have them if they choose to do it. If they choose to shake around while wearing tiny outfits, that's their decision. And I support their decision. And Rob's wall will soon support their decision as well. Yes. So again, guys, thank you very much for listening again. Appreciate having you all on again. Thank you again to John S. Anderson Jr. for sponsoring the show here today. And how did he sponsor the show? Well, simple. He went to buymeacupofcoffee.com/2 Giant Goofballs. Again, that's buymeacupofcoffee.com/2 Giant Goofballs. That's the number 2, not the actual word. Again, guys, we are live every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday night here on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and my LinkedIn profile. And again, if you want to go ahead and join us live, again, it's 9 Eastern Standard Time on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. If you cannot catch us live, that's fine. We won't hold it against you for long. But we are available to watch afterwards, of course, on all those different platforms as well. I always tell people, if you want to go ahead and join in the fun, like everybody else has been commenting along with us here, go either to YouTube or Facebook. That's usually the easiest way, so we can see everything here on the sidebar that we have on our screen in front of us. Also, if you prefer the audio version, or if you're listening on audio, hello, you in the future. We're of course live. We're not live. We're going to be, of course, on every single podcast platform pretty much known to man. Usually I have that up for you guys here within an hour of the live show ending. Try to get it up there pretty quickly, so that way it's nice and downloaded and ready to go for you for that morning drive the next day when you try to calm yourself and not try to kill your boss. So that's there ready to go for you guys. Again, thank you very much for listening in. We will see you all again tomorrow night. And as always, Giant fans,
go G-Man!
Thanks for listening to 2 Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support. If you made it this long, you must have enjoyed it. So I am sure you have followed us on all the social media platforms. Of course, you have subscribed to the show on your favorite app as well and given us a top rating. Right? Right? Right?